Be good to go, Nicole.
Noreen's on this evening?
Noreen is available. Yes. She's
Perfect.
on.
Noreen, would you be able to do a roll call?
I can.
Thank you.
Okay, Commissioner Bector,
Here.
Commissioner Conley.
He's excused for this evening.
Okay, Commissioner Ekstrom.
She's not on anymore, so that is actually Tim Hutbagner instead, correct?
Yes.
And he is present if you
Oh,
need
okay.
to.
Commissioner Karanian,
He is excused.
Chairman Payne,
Present.
Commissioner Bashand,
Here.
Commissioner Dunning.
Here.
You're all set.
Thank you, Noreen.
You're welcome. You have 4.
So
We have 5.
we have 5. So I'm
Oh, I'm
going
sorry,
to
yeah.
seat Sharon in place of, I think it's Michael Karanian. He's the full member?
Yep.
Correct? Perfect. Is that okay with you, Sharon?
Yes, I do want to mention that my name continues to be misspelled in the
Oh.
minutes
Okay.
and everything. Okay.
Oh, I do see that. Yes. Hopefully, can we,
When you accept the minutes, we'll have.
we'll just have her, okay. Perfect. Sharon, do you think you can just say that when we do the minutes and go over
Yes.
them?
Yes, I can.
Thank you. So before we begin, let me explain a little bit about the ZBA and how it's usually run. There's 2 parts to the meeting. The first is a public session in which the petitioner will begin by stating their name and address and explain their petition and what their hardship is. After the petition has been heard, anyone from the public may speak and express whether they are for or against the petition. After all the public participation is heard, the public session of the meeting will be closed. During the work session, the public may stay but cannot comment. If the petitioner does stay for the work session, that's no problem at all. If not, they can call the building department in the morning and they will let you know what the decision is. Noreen, do you think you can read the petition for this evening? Thank you.
Certainly. Petition 00202202, 70 Broadview Street, variance request from section 4.5, table A, to allow the construction of a second floor addition to be 5.5 feet from the side property line where 10 feet is required. Zone R12, Matt Block Lot 21/061/000. Applicant Michael M. Mackey.
Thank you.
You're welcome.
Is the petitioner on? Or the applicant, I
ma'am.
mean?
Yes, ma'am.
We are, yes, yes.
How are you? Could you state your name and address and go over exactly what you're looking to get?
Hi, my name is Michael Mack, 70 Broadview Street, Newington, Connecticut. I'm looking to add a second story addition to the house. This addition would just be going straight up. We wouldn't be adding anything to the side of the property. So yeah, we would just like to go straight up with it.
Okay,
And
We're not going to
good-
change the footprint at all.
Yes, good evening. Good evening, Madam Chairman. My name is John Kelly. I'm the attorney for the applicant. Also with the applicant is his wife, Samantha Mackey, and she's there on the screen
Hello.
as well. And just as Mr. Mackey indicated, there are just minor revisions proposed to the house. The house is in an R12 zone. And when the house was built, there was a requirement of 70-foot frontage, which is what the case is. And the Mackeys would like to explain to you what the proposal is and, what the proposed changes are going to be. So if I may, I will ask them to explain the proposal.
okay.
My wife's gonna.
Sure. So we currently live in just a 1-story single family house. And we are just looking to add on a second story addition. So we wouldn't be going outside of the blueprint of our existing home. So we wouldn't be going past any of the existing boundaries that there are right now. When the house was built, I believe there was 5.5 feet between our house and the property line, which was in the zone regulations back then, which was back in like 1956, 1960 when the house was originally built. And we would like to just add a second story addition. It kind of fits in with the rest of the neighborhood. We're only one of maybe 3 houses on our road that are single family, or single floor, I mean. Everyone else pretty much already has a second story addition. And we are just kind of looking to go into that and not change any of the original blueprint, like footprint of the house, just going straight up. Not encroaching on any other property lines or anything like that.
Right. And our family has grown significantly since, the past couple of years. We actually have a 5-month-old now and a 3-year-old. So we kind of just want to stay in Newington and be able to, grow our family here. But, so we'll see.
Okay. Is there anything else or anything you would
You
like
want-
to add? Or if there's any other commissioners that would like to ask any questions to the applicant at all?
Commissioner Nicole, I have a question. This is Sharon.
Of course, it's Sharon. Yep, go ahead,
Yes.
Sharon.
So the diagram is hard to read, but I was just curious what the dimensions of the second story is. Is it more or less like a standard bedroom kind of thing?
I can't speak for the applicant, but I believe they're putting a complete second story addition on.
Okay,
it'd
the
be-
full second
Yeah,
story.
we're just stacking it right on top of
Right.
what's already
Okay,
existing.
I see.
In the bathroom.
Okay,
Yeah, there would be
So-
no, as Samantha Mackey indicated, there would be no going beyond the current footprint. It would just be a straight up second floor.
There's actually
40
a 16-inch.
what are you saying, 44 feet?
Sorry,
Is that-
the existing house right now is currently 44 feet by 24 feet.
Okay,
and Addition
Yes,
would
that's
be,
just the dimensions of the box.
right,
um,
okay, now I understand. I see.
Yeah.
Thank you.
I do have one comment, Ms. Chairman.
Okay, go ahead,
Um,
Eric.
Just as we all probably realize, he is saying he wants to go straight up, and that's correct. My guess is, depending on the design of the house, that the new roof line will probably encroach, or the eave will encroach more than the existing building does now, probably by a foot or something like that. Just so-
Correct. Okay,
That's all, but that's part of
Okay.
construction.
right.
Yes. Thank you.
I had a question, actually. What is your hardship of reasoning behind putting a second story on?
As
Well-
of right now. Okay.
Because I didn't
Well, go
see,
ahead,
I
go
didn't
ahead.
see one. I didn't see a hardship in there, so I'm just trying to figure out what is the hardship towards wanting to be able to get this application?
Well, I will point out to the commission that this is under the regulations of the zoning board of appeals. This is not a condition or circumstance that they created when the house was built. The frontage and the requirements were, they met them at 70 feet, and now that has changed in the R12 zone. And the change that they're proposing is not a change that is going to be different from the character of the neighborhood. As the applicant indicated, there will be, actually, they're one of few single story units in that neighborhood. The vast majority of them are multi-story, at least 2 stories. And there's no special privilege here or anything. This is the kind of thing that has been approved by this commission in R12 zones, in other applications. Obviously, there was an application that actually was approved at your June meeting in a similar situation. And the design and the work that's proposed would be in harmony with the regulations and, consistent with the character of the neighborhood. So,
I
there-
understand.
so,
I understand that. Also, I just want to make it clear that each application and each petition is actually different from everything.
Mhm.
We don't go off of past precedent, and honestly, not for nothing, the hardship for the neighborhood being a multifamily and two-story home is not technically a valid hardship.
well, it's not a multifamily.
In the regulations of section 8.6, I just want to let you know with the state, but I'm just trying to really figure out what the hardship is in my own point of view. And the June 26th meeting or whatever date that was, or 6th meeting, that has nothing to do with this application and it shouldn't be brought up. That was a special thing and we all voted on that in a specific ordinance and everything, and that should not be brought up at this meeting whatsoever for reasoning behind of you getting this application.
Well, your regulations do indicate that that the commission must consider, you know, the zone that the applicant is in. And
Correct.
And so when the committee factors in the zone, that the previous application was also an R12 zone. And obviously the regulations include references to the R12 zone and what's permitted in the R12 zone. And again, these conditions, these restrictions on the property are not anything that these particular applicants had anything to do with. This is what was required before the regulations changed. And so the hardship is that they cannot maximize, you know, the use of their property, which is a consistent use. I mean, it's still going to be a residential property, a single family residential property, and they're just looking to still conform to the regulations that they currently conform to, but just be able to go to a second story, which again is consistent with the vast majority of other properties in that neighborhood.
Okay. Any other questions from any commissioners or anything, or would the applicant like to add anything at all?
I would have something, Madam Chairman.
Is that you, John?
It
Yes,
is.
John Bashan.
Go ahead, John.
So if I understand correctly, it's just, just another situation where originally it was a 5-foot side yard. Now it's a 10-foot side yard. Is that correct?
Yes.
Yes.
The
Yes.
zone, the minimum requirement was changed at some point after the house was built.
Correct.
Yes.
So I think that it was valuable information that Eric shared with us today, you know, what's required of the application. So, you know, did they not list a hardship in the application? Is that what we're saying? I didn't read the entire application.
I believe it's been reviewed by the chairman. Have some questions. I don't necessarily see. There was a lot of discussion about the same things they're discussing now, but they haven't really come up with a direct hardship other than what Mr. Kelly just stated, that they can't maximize their use of the property.
But I'm saying, is it
Yeah.
a requirement to list it in the application? Is it has to be written? It has to be stated?
No, not at all.
Oh, it
No,
doesn't
there's no
have to-
requirement, correct?
Well, in the packet that we give the applicant, it does, there's a briefing on a hardship and what a hardship is. And that is by state statute under section 8.6, you know,
Yeah.
ZBA variances and must state a hardship with the land.
Oh, so
That's the way it's supposed to be viewed. And
Well, I
commissions,
thought that was, I thought that was valuable information that you provided, and someday we should go over that and see if we have a consensus on which each point meets. But I'm not advocating for the applicant, but I believe that I heard a hardship when he stated that he has a growing family and there's no more room in the house, and needs to be made. Needs to be made bigger. And I don't know if that qualifies as a hardship, but it sounds like a hardship to me.
It does not technically.
So the question would
not
be whether,
supposed to be personal or financial. They are supposed to demonstrate some type of hardship with the land.
Correct.
with the
that is-
land,
with the land, like an odd sized lot, like we had on that corner lot a couple years ago.
Or I think years ago, we had one, they were supposed to do a railroad. I think you were on it, on Connecticut Avenue. There was a railroad proposed
Yes.
and because they had such a big frontage. And that was the only reasoning why they couldn't put anything in the front and there was no railroad gonna be put in the roads there.
Right.
That was an odd hardship.
Yeah, it was
Something
the
that
old-
you
the
would
old
never,
trolley
it goes
line.
with the land.
Mhm.
Yes.
I remember that.
Okay, so I guess the question would be, is there room in, on the rest of the lot to just make it an addition? But then we would, if you followed the side yard of what's there now, like we did with a recent application, then you would you'd still be within 5 feet. You'd just be making a bigger footprint. So I'll listen a little
Correct.
more. I'll listen to some answers or some more comments and I'll see if I have any more.
I would
Okay.
say that going up is the way to keep, if the commission agrees, going up to a second story is the way to keep the property most in compliance with existing, existing character of the neighborhood and existing zoning regulations. And, the frontage issue is the thing that creates the development of the hardship here. So that's the issue, but that's what was approved by the town years ago when this house was first approved.
I don't think, if I may, Madam Chairwoman.
Yeah, go ahead, John.
I don't think it's the frontage, it's the side yard that's the issue. It's, correct me if I'm wrong, but I think it's
Correct.
the side yard is the issue, yeah.
Well, the
the
frontage comes into, in terms of the definition of how much side yard is required. That's the frontage determines, in your regulations, the frontage determines how much side yard is required.
I had a question for the applicant too, since the roof line is going to go over the side setback as well, even though you're going up, are you going to be able to put a jog in? Because then it's going to be less conforming now than what it is from I think it was 5.5 feet.
Correct, 5.5
5.5
feet.
that was. So now I'm assuming at least a half a foot, I'm assuming for the roof, if not a little bit more. Is it going to be jogged in for that? Or because then now you're coming to a more non-conformity?
Just the front.
Just the front and the back of the house
Not
where
back,
the roof,
just the front.
just the front of the house will have an overhang. But the side of the house, on either side isn't gonna have
They're the
anything.
Same peak, same
It's,
grade.
it's
There's
just
going to be no jog out. It's going to be
No.
just flat.
flat.
Yeah,
Correct.
exactly. Yep.
Yep.
Okay.
And the
Thank you.
front, the front
The
setback.
front has
is-
nothing to do with this.
Right, is well within the requirements currently. So it's not,
Okay.
that's not gonna be anything that would be outside the requirements presently.
Yep. Any other questions from any other commissioner? Okay. Is there anything else that the applicant or anyone that would like to speak or say anything for or against, or any other questions that you want to add in or anything else?
I
There's
had a
nobody
question.
on the Zoom call.
Yeah, John,
Oh,
go ahead.
sorry.
No, go ahead, John.
Eric, was any neighbor complaints or any neighbor concerns or?
I got no contact from any neighbor, either for or against.
Okay,
And there's no one on for
There's no one on.
public
and
participation or anything?
There is not,
Okay.
and there's no one in the room.
If no one else would like to ask any questions or say anything, if anyone wants to make a motion to close the public hearing and open up the work session.
I'll make a motion, we close the public meeting.
Bill, okay. Anyone second that?
I'll second it.
Tim, second that. All in favor? Aye. Perfect. So work session, anyone like to say anything, talk about it, anything?
We're under public participation, just if you want to make.
Oh, do you want me to do, oh, okay, I did, yeah. Public participation, is there anything?
There's no one on the line or in the room, so we'll move on.
We'll move on. Perfect. We'll move on to the work session. Anyone?
work session now?
Yes, it is, John.
Yeah, so in my opinion, I still think, I mean, we should go over those, that information that Eric shared so that in the future, we're we're a little more in unison on our interpretation of it, but I see a hardship still because the zone was changed, and it created a non-conforming. So someone might argue for or against that opinion, but in my opinion, that at least comes, at least leaves the shadow of the doubt that that is a hardship that they did not create. So just
Thank
my
you,
opinion.
John.
Yeah.
Okay. Anyone? Bill?
Madam Chair, Sharon.
Sharon, go ahead.
Just curious if this is something, because I think we revisit these types of issues from time to time, that could be sent back to the town planning and zoning, because the structure, the original structure was built in the 60s, and so obviously people are locked into a certain zoning restriction and setback, but could they modify the area so that people can do different things with modifying their properties if need be to fit with conformity of, 2022 and going forward.
I can speak to that.
Yeah, I think Eric can speak
So,
to
so
that.
basically you have zoning regulations in place. The town planning and zoning commission cannot vary or change the zoning regulations like this. That's what the
Okay.
ZBA is for. That's what the zoning board of appeal is for. If you will say like the mechanical units that we recently altered and changed, if you continue to get applications like this, you could request a TPZ, make some modifications to the regulations and change the regulation.
I
going
think that's what
forward.
I was meaning to imply, if they were to modify or change the regulation down the road. But I do understand that they have to follow the set regulation as it stands.
But Eric,
I understand.
John Bishon.
Go ahead, John.
Eric, on that same line, it was the TPZ that changed the zone, correct? After the property was built, after the neighborhood was developed,
They
changed
changed
the zone.
the zone didn't change, the setback requirements changed within the zone.
So it was always R12.
To my knowledge, yes.
All right, but so then the minimum setbacks for that zone were changed
The
by
setback
ZBA.
requirements changed at some point in the past, correct?
Yeah. Not in an individual basis, of course, but what we are dealing with, but
Correct. And this,
full-
right, and these types of questions come up a lot. I get them for decks and stuff, and
Mhm.
because the house is in the side yard, you guys, like you said, had a recent application about one like that. So there are, it does come up from time to time. Many
Mhm.
people work around it if they can. Others come before you. And again, the main reason is we don't have a clear definition of what to do with a vertical expansion, as other towns, some have them in their regulations, we don't. And I don't know how often this has come up in the past. This is my first one with a second story. I don't know if you guys remember any.
I don't think
So-
we have. I don't recall one.
I'm finding a question on, looking at the section 8 Board of Appeals thing,
Mm-hmm.
8.1.35, A5. If we granted the variance, will it be in harmony with the general purpose and intent of the zoning regulations?
I think Eric could.
I mean, it would appear to, like I said, the majority of the houses are out there are 2-story. Whether those 2-story homes have side yard setback issues, I don't know.
Right.
We
We don't know that.
They could be
And were they built originally that way?
correct. They could be perfectly fine and all within the setbacks. I don't know the answer.
Correct.
Mhm.
I'm not aware of any, again, requests like this for Broadview or for anywhere else in town, though I'm sure there probably is some older than I've been doing it or you have.
Okay. Anything else, Bill? Any questions?
No, I think that's all I have at the moment, anyway.
Tim, any questions or anything?
No, nothing.
Okay. John, Sharon, is there any other questions or anything in the work session that you'd like to talk about?
No.
Not really, no.
Okay, we can close the work. Do you need a vote for closing the work session?
You
Okay.
don't know.
We'll close the work session. We'll do the minutes of the previous meetings, and if, I think Sharon, you had a.
Yes, I would like to correct the record that my last name is Dunning.
Perfect.
It's DE in the minutes.
Right, and
Okay.
you can accept the minutes with that change.
Okay, perfect. I'll make the motion to accept the minutes of the meeting with that change of Sharon's last name being changed from Denning to Dunning.
I can second that.
Bill, second. All in favor?
All right.
Aye.
Perfect. Any communications? or
The only
reports?
communication I have is, as you know, we've kind of been working on the mechanical unit setback. That regulation was just changed by TPZ. It will have an effective date of August 17th, so we shouldn't see any more of these. So it now gives them a little more latitude of a 5-foot setback.
Could you possibly read it or go over it? Because Tim wasn't here for it, so at least Tim knows now.
I think that
Or-
was, yeah, back when I was on, that was the AC units, right? Or the heat pumps that
I
are
don't have a
now.
copy of it in front of me. I will email it out to you
Okay,
guys.
Yeah.
I'm sorry, I apologize for that,
No,
but
that's
it will
okay.
be effective August 17th.
so the AC units, generators too, I think were
Yep, all
included,
mechanicals.
all mechanicals. Yep.
Because as we know, they're a lot quieter than back in the old days and stuff like that.
Yes.
And with older lots, like a neighborhood like this, it works out a little better.
Mhm.
Doesn't make people make an extra long electrical run or something if they got to tuck it around the corner of the back or something. So,
Excellent.
Perfect.
all right.
I have a question. The recent, well, not recent, the legislation change about the accessory buildings. in
Accessory
the-
dwelling units?
Yes, what is the town, I had a question. What is the town's stance on that? Are we opting in, opting out?
I believe they just had the public hearing at town council to opt out.
Excellent, okay.
I don't know what the bylaw- I was not at that meeting. I was on vacation, but that was the intent. TPZ recommended that they opt out.
Okay, and it's a big hot button topic in Connecticut right now.
And if we do opt out, that gives TPZ the chance to make their own regulations, maybe less stringent than the state, or however they decide to do it, but still allow it. We do allow it now. Some of our regulations don't necessarily jive with what the state came up with.
Okay.
So that's it. They'll just have to rework some of that stuff.
Okay, thank you.
If we can move to new business, Noreen, would you be able to read the petition again, please?
Sure.
Thank you.
Petition 00-2000-02, 70 Broadview Street. Variance request from section 4.5, table A, to allow the construction of a second floor addition to be 5.5 feet from the side property line where 10 feet is required. Zone R12, map block lot 21/061/000. Applicant Michael N. Mankey.
Thank you, Noreen.
You're welcome.
Would anyone like to make a motion or? I'll make my own motion to not approve. I don't see where there is a valid hardship in this application. I don't know if there's anyone else that wants to make another one, or whatever you guys would like to do. If we want to take a vote, we can too, or if they want to do another.
I can second your motion.
Bill, second?
Yep.
Okay. If you want to do, Doreen, would you do a roll call vote and then we can go for exacts? Please?
Sure.
And this is the vote, so the motion is to not approve.
To deny.
To deny, okay,
Right.
So
Okay.
yes to deny, no to not.
correct.
Correct.
Just, if I might say one thing first,
Yes, go ahead, John.
and I don't know if it's too late, but I was leaning towards approving. So does that mean I would have to make my own motion? I'm not trying to go against the consensus of the commission, but
Nope, you don't need to go against anyone at all. I was gonna ask Eric, if he makes his own motion or he just does a no, basically, because
That's
he is,
basically correct. So there should just be one motion on the floor and you
Okay.
guys act on it.
so John,
Either way.
if you were for the motion going through, you would say no then, correct?
okay, I got it.
Because
All right.
this is a motion.
This is a motion to
to
deny, so
deny.
you would say yes if you are to deny, and you were to say no if that's how you feel, like you
Okay.
just stated, you would say no
Okay,
for
I got
that.
it. I get it.
Okay. Noreen, do you think you
Okay.
can do a roll call?
Sure. Commissioner Becher,
Yes.
Chairman Payne,
Yes.
Commissioner Bashand,
No.
Commissioner Dunning,
No,
Oh, God. Poor Tim. This is your first. this is your
First one
meeting
back,
Tim.
wow.
Go ahead, Noreen, sorry.
yeah, that's okay. And I'm sorry, I didn't get the name of the gentleman that was recently appointed.
It's Tim Wagner.
Okay.
No,
And- No, okay. So you have three no's and one yes.
2 yes.
2 yes, I'm sorry.
Yeah, so the motion has been approved then, correct?
No, it's denied
Oh.
because there's only 3 votes. Still need 4 for approval. I mean,
Oh, okay. So then the motion has been denied then.
the motion to
Okay.
deny.
How
is-
does this work? Is it, we're all so confused. I'm confused.
so you need 4 votes.
Do you need 4 then?
And we
Got
have
it.
Four votes on
yeses.
either way.
Okay,
Yeah, so
okay,
you could do another motion, but that'll be yeah.
okay. So the motion has been denied. Old business?
So.
Go ahead, John.
I just wonder where that leaves the applicant then. Are they, that's just denied then, that they can reapply or?
Well, their option is to appeal through the courts,
Oh, okay.
Or do the setback, right?
or they can alter their plan to
They can alter the plan to go into the side setback,
not go into it. Yes.
to not go, yeah.
Or put a rear addition on, or, you know, they have other options potentially.
Okay,
It's gonna be up to them.
So we always, in our commission, we always need at least 4.
You always
Yep.
need 4, correct?
Not
for
a,
ZBA.
not just a, not a simple
Not,
majority.
it's not a simple majority, it's 4 votes.
All right.
That's why we give the petitioner, if there's only 4 commissioners, an option to postpone the meeting if they don't believe they're gonna have 4 votes, because
Mhm.
it's not a simple majority, it's 4 votes. That's because you're varying the regulation, and that's by state statute.
Okay.
any old business?
Nope, there is no business that I have.
Anyone want to make a motion to adjourn?
I make a motion to adjourn?
Tim, motion? I'll second it. All in favor?
Aye.
Aye. Everyone have a good evening. Thank
Thank
you.
you. Thank you. Have a good evening. Thank you.